Hey guys, it's Joe from AmericanTrucks, and today we're going to walk you through the Barricade HD Winch Front Bumper with LED lighting, fitting all 15 to 17 F150s, excluding EcoBoost and Raptor models. Now this is going to be a great option for you if you're looking for a winch front bumper that is off-road capable, and considering all the options this thing comes with, it is relatively budget friendly as well. So what do we have going on here with the HD Winch Front Bumper? Well, first things first, let's talk about build quality, and then we'll dive into all the features that this thing has. And this is made out of heavy-duty 5/32 steel plate, which we're going to get this side by side next to the factory front bumper in just a second here, but suffice to say, this is definitely going to be a huge upgrade in terms of durability. It looks pretty good as well, finished in that durable 2-stage black powder coat that is not just there for looks, albeit if you are going for the blackout look, this is going to be a perfect match. It's also going to provide a nice layer of corrosion resistance on top of that steel. It's not all about the looks, however, albeit this does look pretty good on the front of our 15 F150. It is also designed with off-roading in mind, especially in front of the tires. You can see just how much this tapers up, and that is designed to help you out with approach angle, and that's going to help you in basically every off-roading situation. In order to go over something, you have to get your tires up onto it, and that is exactly what that slant is for. You do get some great recovery options as well. Obviously, this one does come with a winch plate, attaches right to the frame rail, and that can accommodate up to a 12,000-pound winch. Now, one thing I do want to make a quick note of is you can't run tow hooks with this bumper, but they're effectively replaced with these included D-rings here, and they're going to do just as good, if not a better job, than those tow hooks would have anyways. Now, recovery points, that's not all you're getting with the HD Winch Front Bumper. This one also includes some LED fog lights, which are going to be a huge upgrade over the factory halogens. They're going to throw a very bright white light leading very slightly toward the blue side, and if you're looking at a color temperature scale, specifically they would be right about 6,000 K. Aluminum housing, polycarbonate lens, IP67 waterproof, meaning they could withstand up to a meter of water for 30 minutes. And if your truck had fog lights from the factory, they're completely plug and play. If they did not, however, the kit does include a wiring harness that has a switch on it for you to run through your truck. Now, while we're on the topic of LED lighting, one thing I want to bring up is this overrider hoop. On top of adding a little bit of protection for the grille, underneath of that you can also mount up a 30-inch light bar. That is not included in the kit, obviously, but if you did have one, you could take this to the next level with the LED lighting by mounting something up right there. Now, there are a couple of things I do need to mention about the HD Winch Front Bumper. First things first, and this is going to apply to those truck owners out there who have optioned adaptive cruise control. This will not work with that adaptive cruise control. Now, you can run it if you do pick up a relocation bracket from Barricade, but that is going to cost you a little bit extra. Secondly, and this is going to apply to the EcoBoost owners out there, this winch plate is going to be right underneath the intercooler, and the two don't fit together. So if you have an EcoBoost, you're not going to be able to run a winch unless you do plan on relocating that intercooler. In that case, this will mount up just fine. Now, lastly, I do want to mention this truck does have its crash bars cut, and if it didn't, you'd see a little bit of structural reinforcement right here in front of the front tire. Now, some of you might think that messes with the looks. It's really up to you whether or not you want to cut those. In my opinion, that's structural reinforcement for the F150. I would not, but hey, it does clean up the looks a little bit. Now, let's talk a little bit about price. And the HD Winch Front Bumper, it is not going to be the most budget friendly out there. You can find cheaper bumpers with an overrider hoop, cheaper bumpers with D-rings, with included LED lighting, with a winch plate. However, as far as something that combines all of those features in one bumper, this is going to be pretty much the end-all be-all if you're looking to get all of that and save at the same time. So right around $1,200 is pretty much the most budget-friendly bumper you could get with all those features, and for that, it is definitely well worth the money. The install here is going to be really, really easy. I mentioned earlier that the lights are completely plug and play if you have fog lights. Other than that, there's no cutting, no modification required. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 3 wrenches, only simply because it is a little bit heavy. I would recommend having a buddy on hand to help you lift this thing onto the frame rail. It should take you about 2-3 hours max with some basic hand tools. So without any further ado, let me show you what tools you'll need and how it's done. Tools we use for this install will include an impact, 21 and 18 millimeter sockets. Some extensions will help you out a lot, and last but not least, a trim panel removal tool. Now before we touch any of the hardware, the first thing we're gonna do is unplug some of our electronics. You can see the back of the driver's side fog light right here, and we're just gonna press down on that tab at the top, and that should pop right out like so. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then we can get started with the hardware. The first thing we're gonna wanna remove is on the outside of each frame rail. It's an 18mm nut. You're gonna need a small extension to get to this one. Now the last couple nuts we need to get to, they're underneath this big plastic piece right here. I guess this would be where your lower grille would be, but it's really closed off. All we're gonna do is pry that away with the trim panel removal tool. Now you can see what I'm talking about a little bit better. Two of these on either side, 21mm socket. Now with all of that out of the way, you should just be able to pull that right away from the truck. So there is one more thing you will have to remove, and that is your tow hooks. We're effectively going to be replacing them with D-rings. Our truck doesn't have tow hooks on it at the moment, so we're gonna skip over that step, but it's pretty simple, just a couple bolts from the bottom and a bolt plate. Pull that out, tow hooks will come out right with it. So with that out of the way, we have everything removed off of our F150. I figured now would be the perfect time to sit our factory stuff next to our new Barricade bumper and point out some key differences between these two. The first thing I want to touch on here, it's going to come in the looks department. We're losing this factory body color with all of that plastic, sort of regular old, same old look, in exchange for some heavy duty steel with that black powder coat on there. Perfect for any blackout look, matches our 15 F150 here perfectly. On top of that, that steel is also going to help with durability. If you plan on doing any off-roading, bringing your truck to the work site, that is always a really nice plus. But speaking about off-roading, another huge benefit we have over the factory front bumper here, it's gonna be approach angle. This factory front bumper, it's got those really square ends to it, while our new Barricade, it tapers up on the ends, and that is gonna help you get your wheel up onto something if you plan on going over it. Now, we do have some brand new features here, but before we touch on those, let's talk about a few that are basically transferring over from the factory front bumper. First things first, let's talk about tow hooks. We are gonna be replacing those with D-rings, but really no love lost there. Pretty much the same exact functionality. Those are gonna be just as good, if not better. They're gonna allow you to hook onto something and keep a rope or a cable captive in a D-ring, while tow hooks will not allow you to do that. So that is a nice little plus there. Now, another huge thing that is going to be similar to the factory front bumper, but a little bit different and a little bit of an upgrade, it's gonna be our LED lights. Factory, we have standard old halogen with that reflector chrome style, definitely a little bit dated. On our new Barricade, we already have two LED fog lights pre-installed. They're gonna be a nice bright white color temperature, a little bit more modern than that old school yellow look that you'd get with those factory halogens. Definitely a huge upgrade, and like I said earlier, they're completely plug and play, just like the factory stuff. Now let's get on to the big differences here. This overrider hoop, this is gonna provide a little bit more grille protection. It's also going to allow you to fit a light bar in here. That is non-existent on that factory front bumper. Now last but certainly not least, we have our winch plate. Now, if you do throw a winch on there, that is going to serve as a great recovery tool. Whether you're on the trail or at the work site, that is definitely a good thing to have and something you can't do with that factory front bumper. Now, speaking about that winch plate, the first step to our install, we're gonna grab some hardware, bring that over to our F150 and get that hooked up to the frame rails. So here's how the winch plate is going to attach. You can see this big plate here with this sort of small T shape at the bottom. This is gonna be your nut plate. So what this is gonna do is gonna slide into the frame rail like so. We have those three nuts on there. They're gonna line up with the holes on the bottom of the frame rail and give us something to thread our winch plate into. Then we can go ahead and support that winch plate with our knees and try to get a couple of those nuts started. So that is the install for our winch plate. One thing I did want to make a quick note of about that, those nut plates, they do powder coat those pretty heavily, including the threads inside of the nuts. So it might be a good idea to run a bolt through there off the truck first, back it out just to clean those threads up a little bit, or you can chase them if you have a tap and die set. That would be a really, really good idea to prevent any cross threading. Now, one thing you want to do after you get that winch plate installed, obviously, is throw the winch in there. That is going to vary depending on which winch you have, and then you're ready to throw the bumper up. Now, the hardware is pre-installed on the bumper right out of the box, so all we're going to need to do is pull out these factory bolt plates so we can mate up our bumper. Now we're going to tighten our bumper to the frame horn. You can see we already have this started. You want to make sure that that has a good couple of threads on it before you climb under this thing, because this bumper is heavy. You definitely do not want this to fall on you. We did that. Obviously, you're not going to see it, but you can see us tighten it down with the 18mm socket. And we're going to hit the other side as well. Now the nuts on the inside of the frame rail, they're a little bit tougher to get to. You can get them with an extension, but in hindsight, the correct way to do this would be to slide the nut plate in first, install and tighten down the bumper, and then come back last for the winch plate. Next thing we're going to do is plug in our fog light, and again, they're completely plug and play. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. And to wrap things up here, we're going to install our D-rings. These do come with some rubber isolators to make sure they don't rattle around on you. You can see those two sit in the mount like so. Then we can go ahead and unscrew the pin. Put that around. Pin goes back through and it screws right back in. That's going to do it for my review and install of the Barricade HD Winch Front Bumper with LED lighting, fitting all 15 to 17 F150s, excluding the EcoBoost and Raptor models. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Keep it right here in American Trucks for all things F-150.